Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Campus Manager podcast series, yet another episode. Today, we're here with JoJo. JoJo, welcome in. Great to have you. For people who don't know you out there, give us a quick intro. Who are you and what school are you a campus manager at?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is JoJo Pawlow and I'm a CM at Ole Miss, or the University of Mississippi. It's been a little over a year. I'd say about a year and 3 months now, so quite some time.
Quite some time, quite some time. Do you remember when you were being recruited, when you were being interviewed?
Oh yeah.
Why did you originally say yes to the role? What was the reason?
It's a funny connection actually. It's my brother's best friend is actually my BDM. So he reached out to my brother, said, "Hey, would your little sister be interested? I need someone at Ole Miss." And it actually worked out with I'm a marketing degree, so I was super interested and I really like the thought of like sales too. So kind of all worked out.
Very cool. I actually didn't know that. That's
Yeah.
we know Vero, your BDM, is very resourceful, but
Yes.
I didn't know he had that in him. Reaching out to his best friends.
Yes.
Do you have any family members that could join us? Shout out to Vero. I'm glad that you ended up doing that because we are here with you today because we wanted to talk to you about how you were able to save one of the biggest client accounts at Ole Miss and how did that unfold and why you were tapped and so forth. So the account is Ole Miss Penn Atlantic Council, and obviously a very large account, a very large school, lots of stakes involved. Can you explain to the people out there who don't have the full context what Ole Miss Penn Atlantic recruitment is like and why those orders are such a big deal on campus?
Yes. Okay. So as everyone knows, like Rush in the South is kind of huge. Ole Miss Rush is, I think, number two in the nation for how big it is, right after Alabama. So you can imagine there's over 2,000 PNMs trying to join a sorority, and that calls for over 2,000 shirts for 2 rounds of Rush, along with like bags and stickers. And it's a really big order, and a really important one.
And this happens typically in the fall, in the spring at Ole
Um,
Miss.
Recruitment itself happens in the fall, in
Gotcha.
August, right when we get to school.
Gotcha. And you've been working with this account for some time now. How big are these orders typically? Give us some monetary context here.
I would say the full recruitment order usually is over 100,000. This year, I know we're aiming to hit 130,000 on that order. And then they have some like spare little orders on the side that can be up to like 10,000 usually. It's a
Okay,
pretty big deal.
so yeah, no, no small change there. Very large, lots of people to, deal with and stakes. So just go back in time before you were involved with this account.
Mhm.
When did you first get involved in this relationship?
I kind of got thrown into it. I had no idea I would be holding such an account. I joined a Zoom call with my BDM Vero, and at the end of it, I just remember being so shocked because he said, "All right, JoJo will take it forward from here. Reach out to her if you need anything." And I was like, "Whoa, like, what?"
You were just jumping into a call without,
Mhm.
knowing that you will end up with that account,
I
and
had
the call,
no
I'm
idea.
guessing, went really well with them, and Vero kind of just tapped you in the moment there.
Yeah, I had no idea. It was crazy.
What was going on in the relationship with the client at that time? Why was it that you were asked to step in?
I think there were just some issues with communication, maybe, and I know they were very skeptical about working with us that year. I think they were considering maybe working with one of our competitors, and that's when Vero was like, "Okay, we need to do a Zoom call, talk everything out, and figure out how we can save this relationship and save this order." And it went great because it went through. And I'm working with them now again for this year, so it's been great. But yeah, it's
And
been
this
great.
was pretty early in your campus manager tenure, right?
Yes,
Because we said that we established that you started December 2024. You started working with this account, I guess, in early spring 2025.
yes, it was. Yeah, it was like
Okay,
maybe
so
six
you didn't
months.
have much experience at the time as a campus manager. What
No,
was the level of pressure that you felt at that time, coming out of that meeting?
it was crazy. Because obviously I had some little things here and there, only 6 months in, but I was like, oh my gosh, this is one of the biggest accounts, and I'm handling it. Like, what do you mean? And I felt a lot of pressure for sure, but took on the challenge.
Yeah. And you got out of that meeting. Walk us through what happens in the next few weeks. Did you
Mhm.
have tough conversations with them? Was the client really sold on you from the moment, from the get-go from that meeting, or did it take a little bit more convincing from you?
I think I remember calling Vero right after, and he was like, "Hey, like, how'd you feel?" And I was like, shocked. I don't know. But I reached out to them directly right after, and I was like, "Hey, thanks so much for joining. Like, I'm so excited to work with you guys." And I just made sure the next couple of weeks, like, I was honestly texting them like as if they were my best friend. Like, I was texting them daily, giving them updates, like just anything they could possibly be wondering. I wanted them to know and like not feel like they had to ask. So I was texting them constantly for about a month, I would say, and dealing with all the issues there might have been. And so, yeah, they definitely got to know me pretty well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that was the right way to go, because you established that they had communications issues before with us. So you really wanted to be proactive and show that you're not just like be reacting to what they ask you. You're going to
Right.
be ahead of 2 to 3 steps. Do you think that's what ultimately convinced them to work with you, or was there something else that you did that really wowed them?
I I think they wanted to give me the chance to prove myself, which was very nice on their behalf. But I definitely just made sure that it wasn't going to be a no. Like they were going to use us. Like there was no questions.
What skills did you rely on at that time? Like, what skills did you have at the time that you were like, okay, I'm going to put this in, into practice. I know this is going to be good for the relationship. And what skills did you learn along the way as well in this relationship with them?
I would say my organizational skills were a big one because there were a lot of things, obviously, like over 2,000 shirts, like that's a lot. It was crazy numbers. So I think just like dealing with, okay, this portion, and this portion, like they all need to be monitored. So like organizing that and making sure everything was getting shipped, arriving on time. And if there were needed to be reprints, like that had to be done like the second I got the message that something was missing.
Hmm.
So that really helped. I think time management, like knowing when something needs to be done, like and getting it done by that date, because otherwise, like you cannot fall behind, especially when you're with a client that's like potentially wanting to go another direction. Like that's not an option. Something I learned is that it's not always going to be perfect. As you could do all the right things and something's still going to go wrong and on someone's end, and that's okay. That's what I learned. Like at first, I was like, this isn't okay, like maybe they're gonna leave, but they're at the end of the day, they're people too. They understand like there are gonna be mistakes. Like nothing's gonna be done perfectly.
Yeah, for sure. And let's dive deep a little bit more into that. What were some of the setbacks that happened? Because this is a very large order. I'm sure you were working on it for, if not weeks, months, right? You talked about spring 2025 for an order that's for fall recruitment, right? So there's a lot of months of work, which is incredible. What were some of the setbacks that you remember that you kind of had
Yeah.
to step in and handle the situation?
Yes. The main thing was a lot of like certain sizes would be missing from the boxes, and handling like a rush reprint. It happened quite a few times. I'm not sure why. I can't really control it, but I
Yeah.
could fix it, I guess, if that makes sense.
So
Like
there was like multiple shipments for the same order, and
yes.
in many of those shipments, there were sizes missing.
Hmm. And
Okay.
obviously, like, we can't have that happen because there's all these girls need a t-shirt to wear for these rounds of recruitment. Like that's just not an option. So it was just constant like communication with all of the different teams we have and like saying, hey, I need this done like right now. Like this has to be top priority because this account is so huge. So the main thing I was dealing with was rush reprints, I guess.
Not true. And for people who cannot understand the extent of how large this order is, how many boxes of shirts are we talking about here that were shipped to your client?
Oh my gosh. I think it was, I don't even know,
You
over
don't even know. It's
over 30 for sure. It was
30
crazy.
boxes full of shirts. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, in big orders like this, things like that can happen, obviously. The level of detail in these orders is difficult to, abide by in a way that nothing comes out wrong. So, is this what ultimately you handling these issues and being ahead 2 to 3 steps and handling that with grace? Do you think that's what, ultimately saved the relationship and allowed you to work with them now for fall 2026 orders?
Yes, I think like the way it ended, I think we ended up with only, I think there were 3 shirts missing that didn't make it in time. And I was talking to Vero because I was very down on myself. I was like, there just wasn't enough time. I wish I could have done something, but I took it upon myself. Like it was my fault. And I had a conversation with Vero, and he was like, look, at the end of the day, we delivered over 99% of the order. And you did absolutely everything you could. Like you can't put this on yourself. You got thrown into this and you handled it and delivered 99% of the shirts. So it was definitely a life lesson. I think I learned so much from just this one order. It was actually crazy.
Let's get into that. You pause there for a second to like recall everything that you learned.
Mhm.
What lessons are you taking, from that as you move forward as a campus manager now in 2026?
Definitely over communication. I feel like sometimes it's like hard to, you don't want to annoy them. So you're scared to like reach out constantly and like, you don't want to be a bother, but like over communication is way better than under communication. I definitely learned that. And just again, like you could do everything right and something could still go wrong. Like you got to be at peace with that and like trust how you're going to rebuild, how you're going to fix. And that's what I've definitely been doing this year. We started working on this order in December. this order
For your
will,
fall 2026.
yes. Yeah. So
And
I've
how
got
does that look like? You mentioned 130K. Is that from just one order? Or is that multiple rounds of orders that you're projecting for this account this year?
it should be the 130 should be, I think, two separate orders for this recruitment. But I've already placed, I think, two orders with them outside of stuff like this. So big account, big orders. It's crazy. Yeah.
And you know, you talk about lessons and you talk about what you have learned and what you're taking from that moving forward. You have some context now in the role. You've been here for a year and a half almost, and you maybe have worked with other CMs or other people you know are CMs at other campuses. What do you think other CMs often misunderstand about relationship building with these large accounts?
I would say that it's not about getting one order, it's about getting the rest of them. Like, I
Mm-hmm,
think sometimes you dive into this one order so deep that you forget about actually building the connection and becoming genuine friends where like they're going to use you all the time, if that makes sense. Like, if you're their friend and they can trust you, they're going to go to you, no questions asked. If you worked with them one time, it's going to be a maybe. So it's really
mm-hmm.
important to like, I love to send like, I hope you have a great spring break. To like, no matter where we're at on the conversation with all of my clients, I told all of them to have a good spring break because it's deeper than just the orders and the numbers. It's, you got to be genuine.
Yeah. So in essence, like try to befriend your clients as well, right?
Yeah.
Have them as somebody who you care about, as somebody that you are in constant in touch with, and
Yeah.
you use opportunities to send them something nice and to
Yes.
relationship build. Why do you think other CMs might hesitate to do this? What do you think might be slowing them down in this process?
I would think like maybe like they think they're overstepping or like,
Hmm.
no, this is strictly work, but like you got to get past. It took me so long to get past like this isn't just work. Like, you actually have like the
Hmm.
relationship actually matters. They have to trust you or they're never going to use you again. I would just say don't be hesitant and just do it. It will be so
How how do you know like when a client trusts you? Really, what are some of the telltale signs that you're like, okay, now I have him under my bag. I know that they will use me over time.
I can see a difference in like responses, I guess,
Hmm.
especially
Hmm.
girls. Like, girls like to use their like exclamation points and emojis. I know if I'm receiving that, they're like super excited, super stoked, like it's gonna be great. Whereas if it's more like dry, I know it's like, okay, you don't really know me yet. Let me get
Hmm.
to know you and let's become friends.
Yeah, and I guess every client is different now. Some of them
Yeah.
might like open up to you right away. Some of them might require a little
Yes.
bit more time. I'm guessing in this case, because of the prior issues, there was a little bit of time that needed to be
Yes.
and needed to pass, and for us to show that we really cared and we were there for them. And you definitely did. You're now working with them on a second year in a row. And as you look back at this experience with this client, what part of the experience are you most proud of, if you had to pick one thing?
I would say there were so many challenges. There were so many times where I like just wanted to give it off to somebody else because it was summer. Like, it was supposed to be fun and like, and of course it was. But I just remember like I'd be at work. I have another job as well, and I would see the notification on my Apple Watch that like something went wrong, and I was just like, oh my gosh, not again. And so right after I was dealing with this, and there were so many times where I just wanted to be like, I'm done. I can't handle this anymore. But I pushed through it. We got through it, and now we're working on this huge order for 2026.
Yeah, yeah, I'm glad you pushed through, and that's very honest and very genuine, and I really appreciate that. What stopped you from just giving it all up? Because you thought about it, right?
Yeah, just knowing how big of an order it is, how important it was to Vero, how great it would turn out for me if it worked. And yeah, I was so lucky. These two girls stepped in because obviously exec changes every year. So I'm working with two new girls, and they definitely gave me a big chance. And I wanted to prove myself to them right off the bat so that they had no like concerns of how this was going to go this year. And they've been awesome to work with. We already are at the printed sample stage, and it's March. So yeah, it's been awesome.
Very excited, and we can't wait how to see how these turn out. But Jojo, that's a great closing. Thanks so much for joining us and for giving us an opportunity to sit down and review this experience for you. Best of luck on your 2026 orders with them, and for everyone else, stories like this one show what the campus manager role really teaches you. It's not just selling, right, but how to build and protect real client relationships over time.
Yes,
So thanks, Jojo, and to everyone out there. See you next time.
of course. Thank you.